All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going on this amazing journey to uncover a secret story, a story that's written inside every single one of us. I'm talking about the story of our genes. It's this incredible tale of family, biology, and all those tiny little changes that make you, well, you. I mean, it all starts with something super simple, right? You look in the mirror and you see a bit of your parents, don't you? Maybe even your grandparents. So why is that? What's this invisible force that passes features down through the generations? That's exactly the mystery we're going to solve today. Okay, so to really get this, we got to understand that our personal story has two kinds of chapters. You've got the ones that are basically written for you, and then there are the ones you write yourself. Let's dive into what that means. So you've got these two sides of the coin. On one side, you have inherited traits. These are the things passed down from your parents. But on the other side, you've got acquired traits, stuff you learn or develop while you're alive. You know, it's that classic idea of nature versus nurture. So let's talk about inherited traits. These are the parts of your story you get straight from your family. I'm talking about stuff like your eye color, the natural color or texture of your hair, maybe even how tall you could get. You don't learn this stuff, right? You're just born with it. It's like a gift from your parents. Now, acquired traits, that's all you. These are the chapters you add to your own story. Like, did you learn how to speak another language? Yep, that's acquired. Hit the gym and build some muscle? That's acquired too. And here's the key thing. Unlike those inherited traits, you can't just pass these skills down to your kids through their genes. Okay, so if these inherited traits are part of a story, where is this story actually written down? To find that out, we have to zoom in. I mean, way in. Past your skin, past your tissues, all the way into the tiny, tiny world of your cells. So just imagine for a second that every single one of your cells has this little library inside it. This library is called the nucleus, and it holds the master instruction manual for your entire body. I mean, everything, from how to build your heart to what color your eyes are supposed to be, it's all in there. Okay, so if the nucleus is a library, what about the books? Well, inside that library, all the instructions are organized into these things called chromosomes. You can totally think of them as the actual books on the shelves, and each one is just jam-packed with all our hereditary info. And each of these books, each chromosome, has this really specific structure. It looks kind of like an X, right? That's because it's usually made of two identical strands, and we call those chromatids. And they're joined together right there in the middle at a spot called the centromere. It's actually a super simple and really, really efficient way to pack all that information. So, how many books are in this human library anyway? Well, the magic number is 46. In pretty much every single cell in your body, you've got 46 of these chromosomes, and they're neatly organized into 23 pairs. It's a really specific number, and it's one of the things that makes us human. But here's where it gets super interesting. Not every living thing has 46 chromosomes, not even close. Different species have totally different library sizes. A bee, for example, has 32. A corn plant only has 20. It really proves that it's not about having more books, it's about having the right books for who you are. All right, let's recap. We've gone from the cell to the library inside it, and from the library to the books themselves, the chromosomes. So what's next? You guessed it. Now we're going to look at the actual words written on the pages. So these books, the chromosomes, are actually made of this super long, tightly wound molecule called DNA. And if you think of DNA as the language the book is written in, then the genes are the individual recipes inside. Yep, a gene is just a specific chunk of DNA that holds the instructions for one particular thing. And this is the really critical part to get. Each gene is like a single recipe. So you've got a gene, a recipe for eye color. You've got another one for hair texture. Every single gene has one specific job, and that job is to lay out the instructions for one specific hereditary trait. But how does a recipe written in a book actually turn into curly hair on your head? It's this amazing chemical chain reaction. So, first, the gene gives the instruction. That instruction tells the cell, hey, make this special thing called an enzyme. Then that enzyme kicks off a very specific chemical reaction, and that reaction builds a protein. And that protein is the final physical thing. It's what actually shows up as your trait, like having curly hair. So it's this clear path, gene to enzyme to protein, to you. So think about it. This genetic story is getting copied over and over and over again every time your cells divide.
But what happens if there's a mistake? A little typo during the copying process? What if a word in one of those recipes gets misspelled?
I mean, really think about that. A single typo in a recipe could completely change how the final dish turns out, right? What if it said to add a cup of salt instead of a cup of sugar? Yikes. Well, in genetics, these typos have a special name, and they can have some really, really big effects.
That typo, we call it a mutation. It's just a sudden change in a gene that makes a whole new trait show up, something that wasn't in the original family story at all. A mutation is like a brand new sentence, a total plot twist in the genetic code. And honestly, this part is so important, because without these plot twists, life would never change. It wouldn't evolve.
Now, not all typos are created equal. Some mutations just happen on their own, spontaneously, like albinism in people. Others can actually be caused by things in the environment, and their effects, they can be all over the map. Some, yeah, they can be harmful and lead to disorders. But, and get this, some can actually be beneficial. Think about a change in skin color that helps a whole population adapt better to a super sunny climate. That's a good mutation. That's literally evolution in action. These tiny little typos, when they're helpful, are what allow life to survive and thrive over millions of years.
Okay, let's pull all this together. We've got inherited traits and we've got acquired traits. We've got a library in our cells filled with 46 chromosome books, all written in DNA, packed with thousands of gene recipes. And every now and then, those recipes can change.
And here's the really cool part, the beautiful part. You get 23 of your chromosomes from your mom and 23 from your dad. That mix creates a version of the story that has never, ever existed before and will never exist again. Your genetic code is this totally unique remix of your entire family's history. So the story of you is written right there in your DNA. It's a combination of the past and the raw material for the future. It's a story that literally connects you to every single ancestor you've ever had. And thanks to mutations, the engine of all of life's diversity, it's a story that is always, always evolving. So the real question is, what new chapters will your story write next?